The life of Edward Stevens, born May 16, 1885 in Dropmore, Victoria. He died or was buried on the 1st of July 1914, Barnsdale Pioneer Cemetery. Edward's father was John Henry Stevens and his mother was Evelyn Whitmore. Edward married Elizabeth Marion Saxon. Together they would have 4 children. Isabella Eva Jean was born in Bruthen, Victoria in 1908. John Edward Stevens was born in 1910. Alice was born in 1913, and William Thomas was born in 1913. At this point in time, there's not a lot known of Edward's childhood life. We are still looking for this part of his life. I believe he grew up in or around Barnsdale, and as a young adult worked in the railways. Many of his family also worked in the railway. Edward met Elizabeth in Euroa. It was thought that he worked on the railways in the area, and they moved to Ramrod Creek, near or at Bruthen, near Barnsdale. Elizabeth was pregnant with William when Edward died. They had 4 children, and with the sad loss of Alice in 1913, Alice is buried at Bruthen Cemetery. She died on the 5th of January 1913. She was just 3 days old. Now a widow, and with the recent loss of her child and pregnant, Elizabeth moved back to Euroa with her 3 children. She looked after her father until his death in 1945. She passed away in 1946. The nephew of Edward, Mr. Maury Stevens, was born approximately 28 years after Edward's death, but in 1976 he was reading the family Bible and looking at his family history. In 1977 the Bible was lost to the family, so Maury wrote down all he could remember in a notebook, and he still has it. He referred to it several times as we spoke. In his notes on the death of Edward he reads, Mr. Timmins, the owner of the property where they were working at or near, supplied a mattress and a spring cart, and the men placed Edward on it, and he was taken to Barnsdale Hospital. He had collapsed and was in a delusional state when they arrived. He was admitted with pneumonia and spent 2 weeks there. He was released from there as he appeared to be recovering. Within a week he had relapsed with a severe chest infection and collapsed and died shortly after his readmittance. The only other information we have on Edward is that he had 12 siblings: William, Charles, John, Maria, Walter, Frederick, Isabella, George, Edward, Sophia, Albert, and Seymour Bost. They all remained in or around the Barnsdale area. The information we have on Edward's parents are John Henry Stevens was born in 1846 in Doncaster, England, and died in 1931. He's buried at Albury Cemetery. And his mother, Evelyn Whitmore, was born in 1885 and died in 1909. She is buried at Yarragon.